What's happening, YouTube? Welcome to the Mr. Winslaw channel. I am Mr. Winslaw, your host, and today we're going to be diving right into a very hot topic that is not only surfacing in the African American community, but is also surfacing in the world community. This particular topic deals with nature versus nurture, so without any further ado, let's just dive right in, shall we? Nature versus nurture is an ongoing issue in the scientific and even the world community. Nature minded people typically believe that you have a genetic predisposition to be one way or another. Hence, you are born one way or another, period. There's nothing you can do about it. You were born this way, and that's it. When you came screaming into this world, the genetic code was already set. It's in your DNA, it's in your genes. You're one way or the other, and that's it. Nothing you can do about it. If we look at a nurture minded person, yes, nurture minded people, they typically believe that your environment, your surroundings are going to make you into the person that you are. Your surroundings or your environment possesses people. Those people are going to cause certain things to happen. Those people are going to have a certain effect on you, and that's going to mold you into the person that you are or will become. Yes, that is what a nurture minded person believes. If we look at the examples and the phrases that we've heard through the years, as innocent as they are, they do have very strong nature versus nurture undertones. Phrases like he's a born leader or he's a chip off the old block. These two phrases, as innocent as they may sound, have a very heavy nature undertone. If we look at phrases like you can take the boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy. Or if we look at phrases that say, you know what, that boy or girl has some really good home training, I know they're squared away. These two phrases, just like the phrases prior to, have a very strong nurture undertone. Nature versus nurture. Now, we have even seen media examples of nature versus nurture. We've seen television shows like The Beverly Hillbillies, The Fresh Prince of Bel Air. The title characters to both of these television shows displayed the nurture argument. If we look at The Beverly Hillbillies, this was a family that came from a very rural environment into the lap of luxury. Now, even though they made their transition, still, it was already ingrained in their minds based on their surroundings that they could probably make the transition, but nonetheless, they would still have the country in them. Classic case of you can take the family out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the family. Granny from the Beverly Hillbillies even commented on their lavish swimming pool, calling it a cement pond. That should show you right there that the nurture argument was firmly in place. If we look at television shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel Air, we can see that he came from a very urban environment of Philadelphia, and he was transferred to Bel Air, lap of luxury. But nonetheless, he still had that mentality. He still had that streetwise, swagger filled mentality that Carlton and the rest of his contemporaries lacked. This is a very good example of the nurture argument. If we look at the nature side of things, we can look at people that we have in a great deal of respect and admiration, like the late great General Benjamin O. Davis Jr. His father was a military officer, so it is only natural that the son follow in the footsteps of the father. If we look at the late great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we can see that the same applies for him. His father was not a military officer, but his father was a Baptist minister. So it is only natural that the son follow in the footsteps of the father. Now, the question is, number one, do blacks have a genetic predisposition to be criminals? Or Is the environment to blame for the shortcomings of African Americans? Now, we can also say that choice should be factored in to both of these arguments or both of these points of view. But nonetheless, choice is so typically predicated upon past experiences or a gut feeling. In closing, YouTube community, I believe that nurture is what makes you what you are. I do not believe that you are born one way or the other. No, I do believe that your environment, your surroundings are going to play a very vital role in making you who you are and who you will become. I do not believe that blacks have a genetic predisposition to become criminals. Regardless of what the American justice system says, I don't believe that. I don't believe that we as a people have the problem. I do believe that we as a people need to look at the system and say, you have a problem. Number two, is the environment to blame for the shortcomings of African Americans? This is something that I do believe that we can definitely put our heads together on. We must improve our environment. Our problems are ours to correct and not to curse. I do believe that we need to just set our minds and focus on the things that are going to make our communities better. Focus on the things that are going to make the environment in which we live better. If we do this, then we will see slums turn into skyscrapers. We need to have that type of mindset, Black America, YouTube community. I do believe that that is very possible. I do believe that we need to inundate ourselves with a positive mindset that is going to make positive environments, which will then make positive people. Until next time, YouTube community, have a fabulous weekend. And once again, God bless.